There are no laws against buying it. But two private companies have decided we can't. Visa and Mastercard move roughly $22 trillion a year. Outside China, they touch nearly every card transaction on the planet. And what they refuse to process effectively doesn't exist. In December 2010, they cut off donations to one website. There was no court order, no criminal charge, just a phone call. And what happened next became the template for the next 15 years. The website was WikiLeaks. After publishing the same diplomatic cables that the New York Times printed, Visa, Mastercard, PayPal, and Bank of America cut off donations within days. 95% of WikiLeaks funding evaporated overnight. Iceland Supreme Court would later rule the blockade illegal. The blockade kept going, and the playbook was already in motion. In 2013, the Department of Justice ran something called Operation Choke Point, quietly pressuring banks to cut off legal but politically inconvenient industries: firearms dealers, payday lenders, news outlets. The state had learned to rent private rails to do what the law could not. Once a tool exists, it stops being an exception. December 2020. One opinion column in the New York Times. 6 days later, Mastercard issued a statement. The use of our cards at Pornhub is being terminated. Not because a court found anything illegal, because Mastercard's own internal review did. August 2021. OnlyFans announced it would ban explicit content. The CEO named the cause on the record: JPMorgan Chase, Bank of New York Mellon, Metro Bank. 6 days later, the ban was reversed. Once, the banks gave new assurances. The platform survived. The mechanism did not change. And this is not a story about adult content. The same lever moves anything. July 2025. Steam and itch.io removed roughly 20,000 games in a single weekend. The Trigger, an Australian advocacy group emailing payment processors. The rule cited was internal, Mastercard's own rulebook, section 5.12.7. In Britain, Coutts Bank closed Nigel Farage's account. The leaked internal dossier said his views were not compatible with the bank's values. The UK ombudsman now logs nearly 4,000 debanking complaints a year. That number is up 44% in 12 months. The rule that allows all of this across every example so far is 2 contractual sentences in Visa's own internal rulebook. They're called the Visa Integrity Risk Program. 2 private lines governing $22 trillion of legal commerce. No due process, no appeal, no court. Iceland's highest court ordered the WikiLeaks blockade reopened within 14 days. Visa's partner reopened it and immediately served 2 months' notice to terminate. When 2 companies process 829 million transactions per day, a court order moves slower than a policy memo. The Electronic Frontier Foundation, the ACLU, Marc Andreessen, Glenn Greenwald, Edward Snowden. None of them agree on much. They have all named the same problem. This is not left. This is not right. This is infrastructure. Free speech means nothing if we can't be paid for it.